supposed to be respected. He's supposed to be respectable, have a good reputation. And we talk about that. We talked about the different qualifications to be a church leader. And we wanna move on from that tonight. The letter R. Now, there's so much more we can, in this particular portion of scripture, that we can delve into. But I want us to move on tonight. And so we are still in the letter R. We are using the word leader as an as an acronym to highlight the different characteristics of a leader, how a leader is supposed to be. And so we move on tonight, and we are saying that a leader must be reliable. Reliable. What does that mean? That a leader is supposed to be reliable. Well, it means that you can rely on him. He must be dependable. You must be able to depend on your leader. If you are the leader, people must be able to depend on you. That's what reliable is. People must be able. Could you imagine having a leader and you can't depend on him or her? You can't take them at their word. You can't trust them. A leader must be trustworthy. Even a secular leader, if your secular leader tells you, listen, at the end of 3 months, the first 3 months you're on probation, and after that, we're gonna review, and once you pass, we're gonna raise your salary, and all these promises, and the time comes and nothing, excuses. That is not a good sign for a leader, and especially in the church, especially in Christianity. People must be able to rely on you. People must have confidence in you. Someone comes to you and they tell you what their situation is. They may have a financial situation. And you say, listen, tomorrow we'll organize something for you. And tomorrow comes and they're waiting, and you tell them, well, okay, come back tomorrow again. And you keep putting them off, and after a while your word becomes nothing, because they can't rely on you. They can't rely on you to assist them out of the position that they found themselves in. A leader, those that he leads, those who follow him. And again, I remember I told you before, and I say it again, when I say him, it means a leader could be male or female, but we just using him to mean both male and female. Whomever is the leader, the followers must be able to rely on that person. He must be able to take them at their word. He must know, if my leader says A, then A it is. You must be reliable as a leader. No leader can break trust with his people and expect to keep influencing them, because trust is the foundation of leadership. People must be able to trust you as a leader. They must be able to rely on you. They must be able to have confidence in you the same way you want to have confidence in them. Whatever you say as a leader, your word must stand. And too many people, have been hurt because they can't rely on their leader. They can't rely on you to encourage them, to strengthen them. They can't rely on you to teach them, to have their back. That is not good. So a leader must be trustworthy. He must be reliable. He must be, and one of the things that people rely on you as a leader, is confidentiality. Imagine you go to your leader because maybe you sin, or something happening in your home, or you have a challenge. You haven't sinned yet, but you have this challenge. You must be able to go to that person and say, Pastor, Bishop, whoever it is, whoever is the person that's leading you, it may be someone that you report to. They may not be the ultimate leader in the organization of the church, but whomever it is, you need to be able to know that when you go to them, whatever you say will be kept there. Is that right or not? Imagine you go to a leader, and this has happened so very often. People complain about it. You share your whatever is going on with you. You share your life. You share your weakness. And next thing you know is as though they didn't have a topic, a sermon topic for that week, because you hear your whole life story from the pulpit. Your name isn't called, but everything that you've shared, you hear it coming out. How would you feel? So a leader is not supposed to, confidentiality is one of the basic characteristics of a leader. So it means people must be able to rely on you to keep that which they have entrusted to you. And too many lives have been destroyed because of lack of confidentiality. I have experienced that. I have experienced saying things and then hearing it back in my ear. And people would have come to me because they know me and they want me to know, what is being said. A leader must be confidential. So if you're confidential, I can rely on you. If you're not, then I cannot rely on you. So being reliable is crucial to being a good leader. I pause a minute. Any questions, comments? Anybody? Are we okay? Can we move on? I want to rely on you to ask questions. So we good, Joshua?
I think that's First Lady's hand is up.
First Lady?
Dr. Richards,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a leader who is not confidential and they betray your trust, you go to your leader
Mm-hmm.
and you confide in them and you say something to them that is very personal,
Mm-hmm.
and you hear about it after through somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
How should one deal with something like that?
Well, you have to go back to your leader. You have to go back to him or her and say, listen, what I shared with you, someone just said it to me. What I shared with you, others know. Because remember, as I always tell you, and one of my bosses many years ago said it to me, and I will never forget it, and I keep repeating it and repeating it. You could tell somebody something in confidence, and it could go right around the world in confidence. You see, because everybody has somebody they feel that they can tell that will not tell somebody else. And that person has somebody that they can tell who will not tell anybody else. And so it goes. But as a leader, the buck stops here, right with me. I am not to share with anyone what you have shared with me. I must not break that trust, that confidence. And so if that happens to you, you have to go back to your leader. And you have to say, you don't accuse them. You don't say, well, you went and tell people thing about me, no. But you say to them is, what I shared with you, I shared with no one else. And now I'm hearing it. And you let them know how it makes you feel. And put the ball in their court to say yea or nay. But if you know that you would not have shared it with anyone else, then you know it's them. And it's up to you now to decide what you're going to do after that. Are you going to trust this person again? Are you in a position, or will you feel free to share your heart or whatever it is with this person who is a leader? And it is a shame if you're a leader and you have people that you lead who can't rely on you and they don't trust you. And people don't follow leaders. People are not influenced by leaders. If I share with you something and you break my trust, then trust is something you have to earn. And secondly, trust is something you have to work and build back in. And as a leader, when you break trust, it's harder than when somebody breaks trust in you. When you break people's trust, it is difficult for them to trust you again. So being relied upon is significant and very important for a leader. Anybody else?
Sister Alana.
Sister Alana, make sure they can unmute.
Hi, good night, everyone.
Aye.
I have a quick question. Can you look at your boss as a leader?
Of course, your boss is a leader once you're following him or her. All right.
Okay.
Your boss is supposed to be a leader. Let me put it this way. All right, because he would be in a leadership position. He may not be acting like it. He may not be carrying out the functions of a leadership, but he's in a leadership position. Let me tell you something. Leaders inspire and motivate people even outside of their position. So a good leader, even outside of their jurisdiction, there's something about them that draws you. That's something about a good leader. If it is that you only follow somebody because, hey, I'm a supervisor, I'm a boss, and I have to do what they say, otherwise I'll get fired or, disciplined, then that's not a good leader. That person must inspire you. So yes, go ahead, sorry. Hello?
Okay. Reason for me asking this, you said earlier on that a leader is supposed to be sort of a good character where he will want people to follow him.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday, my boss real ball up at me in front of customers, everybody. But it's not that I was giving trouble or anything. He just, in his mind, well, the words to me was like, he find I too friendly and I laughing and talking with everybody. And he said he did not hire me for that. So, and just go and do your work. So I stand up and I look at him like, you can't be speaking to me like this. Not because I'm your employer, you are my employer and I'm your employee. So I walk off. But then as I said to myself, what will Christ do? So I walk back to go and answer him. And one of the workers say, no. She said, just continue walking. But that wasn't good leadership because you can't embarrass somebody because they just choose to stand up and talk to somebody.
And that's why I said a good leader is supposed to motivate and inspire people. You don't inspire people with behavior like that. You don't. Now, how you deal with it depends on the circumstance. It depends on your job. But you have to ensure that people respect you. You have to ensure that your leaders, your co-workers, everybody respect you. And I don't mean to rise up and shout back. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you have to understand how important you are. And you have to display that by the way you live on your job, by the way you work. You work with integrity. You work, in such a way that it's above reproach. And nobody is supposed to be able, and in fact, in no job, any leader is supposed to shout at the except you in the military. In the military, that is par for the course. That's something that they do. But not in a job, even if the person is the owner, they're not supposed to disrespect you. And we talked about, that's one of the things we talk about. A leader is not supposed to disrespect people. That's not a good leader. All right, so I don't know what you ended up doing, but sometimes, you depend on the policy, you can take action. If not, sometimes you just have to grin and bear it. Sometimes you walk away. It depends on the circumstances. There's no one size fits all. But just make sure you maintain your integrity. All right, and don't let people feel that they can do that to you anytime. You have to stand your ground. Yeah?
Okay, I did exactly that. I just walked away and I went and I said, Lord, have your way and take control. And I called my pastor and I told him about it. And he said, don't let it happen again. The next time it happens, you need to stand up for your rights. Don't act like him, but let him know he cannot speak to you like that. You
Correct.
understand? That is it. That was the end of the story.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. So a leader must be reliable. Yeah? You must be able to rely on him, on her, to keep your confidence, to teach you, to share with you. You must be able to rely on your leader. The next thing is a leader is supposed to be real. Real. What do I mean by that? Not fake, not pretensive. There are too many fake leaders. If a leader is real, hear this, huh? Hear this. If a leader is real, he must be able to say things like, I'm not sure, I don't know how to answer that. Or I made a mistake. I don't really know the answer, find out for it, but I don't know. You must be real now in saying this. If every time you go, your leader is saying things like that, I'm not sure, I made a mistake, that's one thing. That's a sign of weakness. If that happens continuously, then that person cannot inspire somebody. They should not be in a leadership position. But if something comes up, and if your leader is wrong, they must be able to say, I'm wrong. You have to be real with yourself and real with the people. Jesus, when in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus said, I need you guys, I need you guys to pray with me. My soul is real soulful right now. I'm going to face something that is I've never faced before. And so he said, I need your help, guys. I need your help. I'm trying to tell Jonathan something below. Jonathan. Sorry about that distraction. Jesus said, I need your help. I need you to pray with me. I need your strength. I've been doing this for you all for so long. I've been teaching you all. I've been there for you. I've been strengthening you. I've been pouring into you. I need you now. A leader should not be afraid to say that. You have to be real. You can't pretend that everything is all right all the time. Again, I want to make it clear. It doesn't mean that every time you make a mistake, you come and say, I make a mistake. Or every time you're not sure about something, like, hey, guys, you know what, I ain't too sure. No. But if you're placed in a position where, listen, this is the situation, and we have to make an important decision and you're not sure. And the thing is, as a leader, it may not be that you're talking to the people whom you lead. It may be one of your peers. Go and talk to them. Listen, I'm not sure what's going on, I'm not sure I'm doing what God wants me to do. I'm not sure we have a decision to make. I don't know if it will go left or right or up or down. You got to find somebody that you can share that with. You have to be real, but some leaders want everybody to think everything is all right and everything is great, and that is wrong as a leader, because it means you will not get the help that you need and you will stay in the same position. Be real. I can't do it. I don't know. I made a mistake. I'm not sure we're going on the right path still. Be real. Don't pretend. Don't pretend with yourself and don't pretend with others. So we're moving on. Another thing about leadership, about a leader, is that a leader needs to be resilient. Resilient. What do I mean by resilient? When you're resilient, you have to be able to adapt to things that's stressing you. and to maintain a psychological well-being in the face of whatever you're facing. People can't see you cracking up or wilting under pressure. A leader must be resilient. He has to be strong. He has to have the ability to bounce back from difficult circumstances, different experiences. That's a good leader. Because I'll tell you something, things will not always go right. Every day will not be Sunday. The ocean will not always be calm. And you're the captain of the ship. You have to prepare for the storm. You have to be able to deal with whatever circumstances. Could you imagine you're the head of a home and things going wrong and you crying and the children depend on you, your wife depend on you, and you holding your head and you want a ball and you're crying and no, you can't do that. And whatever you experience in life, you have to be able to bounce. But look at Job. Look at Job. Look what he went through. And he was resilient. Yeah, he questioned God. He talked a lot, but he was resilient, and for that, God blessed him. Look at David. Saul tried to kill him. All kind of things happened, and he was able to bounce back from all of that. That's resilience. Because all of us will face adverse situation in our life. All of us. But you see a leader, you cannot give up in the midst of pressure. When you reach the Red Sea and everybody quarreling and complaining and they bring us out here to kill us, you have to be able to stand up and say, Lord, what do I do? And listen to what God is saying. But you don't wilt under the pressure. You don't go crying and I give up, I don't want to be leader anymore. Look at Jesus and what Jesus had to go through. He was real, as I told you. And he told them, hey, listen, this thing is hard. It's pressure. But he was resilient. He said, nevertheless, not my will, but your will. You see, as a leader, you must be able to take a licking and keep on ticking, as we say. How many of us have experienced adverse situations in our life? During COVID, people lost their job. People lost their job. But if you have leadership qualities and you know that you'll find another way, like MacGyver. You'll find a way to deal with what you are facing. That's what, and people are depending on you as a leader to stand firm and stand strong and be resilient, to bounce back, to take them to the next level. A leader must be resilient. And I'm sure if I ask for testimonies, I'm sure most of us would have testimonies of things that we have gone through in our lives that we, at the time, we didn't think we would survive it. But here we are today. Here we are today. In 2018? 2018, I got called into the office. I was a human resource administrator in my company. And yeah, they probably want to say, let's come up to the boardroom. Went up to the boardroom, wanted to hear that, you know, because of economic situation, etc., etc., etc. Bottom line is that we have to let you go. One of 5 managers, we have to let you go. And it wasn't easy. And I'm thinking, talking and I'm thinking, what all the bills to pay, the salary already was not adequate to take care of all the bills. Now there'll be no salary. And that was an adverse situation. But I didn't give up. I didn't give up. Because you see, something in me tells me that the God that I serve is able to take me out of this. At that particular point in time, it was difficult to deal with. And they asked me if I had anything to say, and I only said one thing, one sentence. I said, this could not happen at the worst. This is the worst time for something like this to happen. That's the only thing I said. But I tell you something. Because I was able to face that situation, if I was still at work, working full time, I couldn't be doing this what I'm doing now. I would not have been here. This ministry would not have been birthed like this. And so we need not complain. We have to be able to stand and face whatever, because we don't know what lies beyond the storm that we are facing. I remember right after that, I experienced something that I never experienced. I heard about it, but I never experienced it. I was sitting on my, let me don't talk too loud. I was sitting on my steps outside. We live in an upstairs apartment. So sometimes when I hear I say downstairs, it doesn't mean downstairs, it means outside. And this van pull up and asked me, and I said yes. And they said, we are from this bank and we came to collect a vehicle. And I'm like, what? Because we hadn't paid the vehicle loan for a few months because I lost my job. I faced, well, I have to say we, my wife and I, she wasn't there at the time, a vehicle being repossessed. You know how embarrassing that is? You know what embarrassing it is for your neighbor to see people come and take your vehicle and go with it? I didn't put up a thing. In fact, I had said no. And the gentleman said to me, he said, sir, you don't want to be embarrassed. You better just give it to us freely. You don't want to be embarrassed. And something in that struck a chord in me, and I said, you know what? Hand them the key. We still possess a vehicle today. We were able to buy a vehicle after that. 2 years after that, my wife got a letter that she was to go home. So here I am, no job. My wife is the only one that's working, and she too got the same thing, had to go home. But we rallied through. She got another job. And then during COVID, bam, she was sent home again. If that didn't happen, First Lady wouldn't be able to minister to you like she's doing now. She's home now. She's doing this full time. She doesn't have a salary. There's no salary. You know, the ministry is not able to pay us a salary. But hear what? When God is in something, He provides for every need, every circumstance. I can't remember one day in all these years that we didn't eat. You may not have had much to eat, but there was one day. And you had to be able to rally through those circumstances. That's what you call resilience. When you're able to adapt to stressful situations, maintain your well-being and your integrity. A leader has to be able to do that. Has to be able to do that. I don't know how many of us, well, I know we have some elderly folks that grew up in my era and before on the platform in the family. I don't know how many of you know the song Patches. Let me just read the words of the song for those of you who don't know it and to remind those of you who know it. It says, it was written by a gentleman by the name of Terence Carter in 1970. He said, I was born and raised down in Alabama on a farm way back in the woods. I was so ragged that folks used to call me Patches. Papa used to tease me about it because deep down inside he was hurt because he had done all he could. That was the talking part of the song. And then he would start to sing, my papa was a great old man. I can see him with a shovel in his hand. See, education he never had. He did wonders when the times got bad. The little money from the crops he raised barely paid the bills we made. For life had kicked him down to the ground, and when he tried to get up, life would kick him back down. One day, Papa called me to his dying bed, put his hands on my shoulders, and in tears he said, Patches, I'm depending on you, son, to pull the family through. My son, it's all left up to you. The song goes on and said, 2 days later, Papa passed away, and I became a man that day. So I told my mama I was going to quit school, but she said that was Daddy's strictest rule. So every morning before I went to school, I fed the chicken and I chopped wood too. Sometimes I felt that I couldn't go on. I wanted to leave, just run away from home. But I would remember what my daddy said with tears in his eyes on his dying bed. He said, Patches, I'm depending on your son. I tried to do my best. It's up to you to do the rest. And the song goes on. I wanted to get a picture. Then one day a strong rain came and washed all the crops away. And at the age of 13, I thought I was carrying the weight of the world, the whole world on my shoulders. And Mama knew it, what I was going through, because every day I had to work the fields, because that's the only way we got our meals. You see, I was the oldest in the family, and everybody else depended on me. Every night I heard my mama pray, Lord, give him strength to make another day. And then he says, the years have passed and the kids have grown. The angels took my mama to a brand new home. Lord knows, people, I shedded tears, but my daddy's voice kept me through the years saying, Patches, I'm depending on your son to pull the family through. My son, it's all left up to you. I don't know how many of you know that song, but it's a song of resilience. It's a song of somebody placed in a position where he didn't ask for it. He was just a child. But life was difficult. And his father, he watched his father work hard. And whenever he got something good happen, then something bad would happen. Check please, check your mics. Check your mics. That's what you call resilience, to be able to face that kind of hardship, to go through that and to come out of it standing. That is what a leader is supposed to do. To be able to stand the test of time, to be able to withstand the storms that they're facing. Because if the leader can't do it, then you can't do it either. Because you're dependent on the leader. And if you're the leader, people are depending on you. Like the father said, Patches, I'm depending on your son to pull this family through. My son, is all left up to you. A leader is supposed to be resilient. When everybody is falling apart. Let me quickly read another poem. And this is one I'm sure you know before we close off tonight. It says, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about and don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, not talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it in one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginning and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can walk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiven minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that is in it, and what is more, you'll be a man, my son. This is a poem of resilience as well. If you can face all these things, adversity coming after you like Job, one after the next, one after the next, and you're able to stand your ground, then you're a leader. That's a quality a leader is supposed to have. A leader is not supposed to run and hide. A leader is supposed to face whatever it is head on and deal with it. A leader is supposed to stand in front of the people and say, you want to get to them? That'll come through me. That's a leader. That's leadership. So we're gonna stop here for this evening. And I'm trusting that even as we share, that it would do something and resonate in you, because again, I do not want you thinking, well, that is not me, I'm not a leader. We are all leaders. And these are the qualities that we are supposed to have. And these are the qualities I want to encourage you to aspire to run after if you don't have them. Amen? Do you receive that? God bless you. I want to hand you back over to Minister Joshua. We'll continue next Tuesday, God's willing. Next time we have Kingdom Study, as we continue to look at this thing called leadership, which is so very, very, very vital. Everything rises and falls on leadership, says John Maxwell. God bless you. Minister Joshua.